Good morning, folks. Councilman Rasmussen here, coming to you with my update from our town council meeting last night on Monday, April 3rd. um, Start off with a few general updates. Always the stuff in our Thursday town tidbits. So obviously, election is coming up tonight. If you are interested, there is a Meet the Candidates night at Town Hall. It's running 6 to 8 p.m. So if you'd like to come out, if you haven't met the folks who are running for any of the positions, there's an at-large position, the mayoral position, and the District 2 position. You can come out and meet the candidates this evening, 6 to 8 p.m. at Town Hall. It's kind of an open forum. Folks will have a table. You can just walk around, chat with people, get to know them a little bit. Pretty informal, but a nice way to learn a little bit more about folks if you haven't gotten a chance to meet them yet. The election itself is the 27th, April 25th. So if you've not registered to vote yet, make sure that you do that. April 25th is just a couple of weeks away. It's a Tuesday. Again, that will be at Town Hall. Also, I think polls are open that day from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So make sure it's on your calendar to come out and vote in our municipal election on April 25th. Going down the list, April 22nd, everything is on schedule for the unveiling of the George C. Wright Memorial Statue that's going to be out front of Town Hall. If you roll by Town Hall these days, you'll see they're doing some landscaping work, putting in like the pad and places like that where it's going to be, the statue's going to be set up. And 11 a.m. on Saturday, April 22nd, is going to be the official unveiling of that with a little reception afterwards at the Ashbury United Methodist Church. Another thing coming up, April 23rd, it's a busy weekend, 22nd, 23rd. The Red Sand Project is an effort that some of our council members are leading here in town to call attention to human trafficking. This is a nationwide effort to sort of raise awareness about human trafficking and what people should be on the lookout for, how people can keep abreast of what's going on. It's a neat little effort. You can find more about it at redsandproject.org. On Sunday, April 23rd at 4 p.m. out at the town facility on Artisan Drive, we're going to be having a Red Sand Project event. The idea here is filling in the cracks that people who are human trafficked often fall through. So it's an awareness event. You can come out, you can learn more about it at the event. You can also learn more about it online if you can't attend the event. But that's Sunday, April 23rd at 4 p.m. out at the Public Works facility on Artisan Drive. If you don't know Artisan Drive, that is the town industrial park. It's right next to Blue Oral. Spring cleanup is coming. April 17th till April 28th. This is when you're able to put things out on the curb that you cannot fit in your normal garbage. Our town guys are going to be coming along in our tipper truck, our white truck, picking up those big items and getting them disposed of. So if you've got things that don't fit into your normal garbage and you don't have a way to get it up to the transfer station yourself, this is an opportunity to get rid of larger items. Obviously, the restrictions on this, it cannot be hazardous waste. Those are things that need to be disposed of separately. But if you have a piece of furniture or you have, stuff that you can get out to the curb that you can't normally get in your garbage, here's your chance. It runs April 17th through April 28th. The guys are out every day doing this. So you put your stuff out and they will be around. They have a route that they'll run throughout the whole town to pick things up. It may not be the day you put it out, but they will come around and get it. Also, I found out this week, and my wife knew about it before I did, actually. It is yard waste collection. Yard waste collection is up and going again. So today is my yard waste collection here downtown, and all of the clippings and everything from our spring cleanup in the garden are hopefully going to be picked up today. I know that last week some of our stuff was picked up from here at the distillery. So you can now start putting out your blue can with the yellow lid, or if you have your own can that you use for yard waste, as long as it can be tipped into the truck and the guys don't have to lift it themselves. It means it has to have that little bar along the back of it so it can they can hook it and tip it. You can get that out on your designated yard waste day. And if you need to find out what that designated yard waste day is, that's on the town website. If you look under yard waste collection, you'll see the routes, what neighborhoods are covered under what day. If you're here downtown like I am, it's Tuesdays. Couple of other little things. Well, actually, not little things, a big thing. So I've mentioned lots of times Smyrna at Night is coming up on June 17th. We're also going to be starting in May. So I believe it is May 1st. No, sorry. May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, is First Fridays that we're starting downtown again. So these are nights where Main Street's going to be shut down from between Four Corners at Commerce Street and South Street. We've got a little stage that we're putting out there. There will be beverages. There's some food available. Right, Guzzy Q's is right there, and my daughter loves the chicken on a stick and the banana pudding. But you can head out, grab a little bit of something to eat, watch a little bit of music. They are obviously weather dependent. If it's pouring rain or something on that, then we do have to reschedule them. Last year we were able to move one or two of them inside to different locations. The firehouse was awesome enough to allow us to move one of our events inside. I think one, maybe two last year. But these are going to run through the summer. So starting in May, and I believe they run through September, we'll have First Fridays. It may even be October. I'll find out. You can come out and check it out. And then, of course, the big Smyrna at Night on Saturday the 17th. And the big announcement, Chief James was very excited. He's been working really, really hard to find some great acts for this and do the planning for it. So the big announcement yesterday was who our headliner is going to be this year, multi-platinum country music artist Blanco Brown. I have to say I don't know who Blanco Brown is, but Chief James assured me that my kids would know and they've heard his music. I don't know whether that's true or not. I haven't asked. But apparently an awesome performer, a great following. There's a lot of excitement about it. It took a long time to lock down this performance. I think Chief James really enjoys getting to book bands and things like that. He definitely gets excited about it. So it's going to be the biggest name act I think that we've had play at any of our Smyrna at Night events. It's obviously a big day. There's music throughout town. There's lots of food. There's vendors. There's beverages. There's all those sorts of fun things. Hopefully the weather cooperates with us and everybody comes out and has a great time. That's Saturday, June 17th. Block off your entire afternoon and evening for this one. Those are the big updates. As far as our board meeting, our council meeting last night, the agenda actually wasn't all that significant or all that long. There were a couple of little things. One, we had to revise our candidate list for the election coming up on April 25th because it turns out one of the people who submitted their registration technically doesn't live in town. So we had to update the candidate list to remove that person who is technically not a town resident. If you ever look at the town map, it is confusing. Some neighborhoods are entirely surrounded by the town, but are not technically in the town. It's the function of a town that has grown after it's been built up around it over the years. A little bit confusing at times, but it is what it is. So we updated that. We also swore in our Board of Election. These are the folks who volunteer to oversee the election. They volunteer to oversee the count. They're citizens from our community who give a little bit of their time to make sure that that we have open and free and fair elections here for our council members. Those were a couple of the administrative items. We did have a new business item that I think is kind of interesting. So the Delaware Solid Waste Authority is partnering with our garbage collection company to do what they call a Feet on the Street recycling partnership. What this is, recycling is a tricky bit of business because if items go in the recycling bins that are not recyclable, it means that those items and possibly the whole bin ends up getting tossed in the garbage. And that's a bad thing. Unfortunately, Smyrna, sounds like, has the worst contamination rate in the state, something around 29%, which is way higher than anybody wants it to be. And what that means is that of the garbage, of the things that are ending up in our recycling bins, a lot of it may not be recyclable, or it may be, well, actually, they called out one of the biggest issues is that people put their recycling in other plastic bags. The folks at the recycling center don't open those plastic bags. They just throw them all right into the garbage. All of our recycling is excuse me, sorted by hand. There's folks at the center where these go that have to sort through all of this. And if a lot of it ends up in the garbage because it's not recyclable or it's not put in a way that allows them to sort it easily, that goes into the landfill. We pay more money for landfill costs. It's like $80 a ton or something like that. And we likely have more recyclables going into the landfill than we need. So this is an effort through the Delaware Solid Waste Authority to do some outreach around education, what is and is not recyclable. We've all received this. It's even printed on a sticker, but this is a little bit more active. They're going to send some things directly out to people, and then they're actually going to go out and they're going to be wearing high-vis vests, and they're going to walk along and check recycling cans. And if folks have got stuff in their recycling that isn't recyclable, they're going to leave a note on the can to try and educate them about what is and isn't supposed to go in that can. I know this is a constant conversation because things like pizza boxes that have oil on them technically aren't supposed to go into your recycling. Paper that has wax on it and things like that. Those are tricky things that technically shouldn't be in the recycling the way we set it up here in the state of Delaware. And there might be things that are going in the garbage that are actually recyclable that people just don't know about. So there's an effort to educate folks both through some mailings and then through this active walking around, checking the recycling cans, leaving notes on it. There's no penalties associated with it, but apparently this program has been rolled out in a couple of other places. They talked about doing it in Ohio, and it leading to a 45% decline in the contamination rate in recyclables, which is great. I mean, that's a lot of recyclables heading to the recycling center and not into the garbage. So we approved the program. We're going to be the first one. They're going to do it here in Smyrna, and they're going to do it in some unincorporated areas as a pilot for the state. It's not going to roll out till this summer, and folks will be sending out some mailings, and we'll do some postings about it as it gets closer. We may have a few little videos and things like that that go along with it to try and educate people and encourage people to utilize recycling in the proper way that puts as much recyclables in the recycling center and as much garbage in the landfill, or as little garbage in the landfill as we can manage. So we approved that. That will be coming out. Look for more information this summer. The couple of other more administrative things from the town. So we did an update, a first reading of a code update around electrical disconnections for medical hardship. One of these things is that there are folks who have legitimate medical waivers that give them flexibility in paying their electric bill, and that we cannot turn off their electric if they have one of these waivers in place. They are required to pay their bill. And when their waiver expires and they're no longer able, and they no longer have that in place, they are required to pay their back bill. We're not giving away electricity. We're simply providing flexibility for folks who may have trouble paying their bills and have a medical necessity to have the electricity on in their home. We had to make a little bit of an update to our code to make that really clear and make it compliant with some of the requirements for state law. So it's an administrative thing, but it's part of what we do. And then the other big one is every year we have property tax exemptions. So there's a couple of different things. One is seniors who are on fixed or low income have the ability to apply to the town to have up to $30,000 of their property tax assessment waived, so that they don't have to pay taxes on that. We have a number of folks in that situation. And so we get a list every year of people who apply for it. I've mentioned it before on these videos that the date was coming up that you needed to finish your application by. We have to approve that list. We also have lists for other entities that have tax exemption for property taxes. So things like the school district, nonprofit organizations. There are federal organizations, county organizations. All of these are people who own property in town who get tax exemptions for one reason or another. Actually, we usually approve all of this in a big blanket thing. This year, as we were going through some of this, I actually noticed at least one of the nonprofits that is no longer a nonprofit in that building. And so we actually asked the town to go back and do a deeper audit of this, to go through every single one of these line by line and verify that they are correct. Because, where there's one, it just so happens that I found one while I was going through the paperwork. It means that there might be others, and we want it to be as accurate as possible. So we're actually going to have that come back to us at the next meeting so that we can approve all of those property tax exemptions after a little bit deeper scrutiny on the lists. Those were our real big items. So mostly administrative stuff, nothing too crazy. There were a couple of things, I've mentioned this before, and the town is pursuing a resolution for it. Back in December, when we had the sewage line collapse over on Commerce Street, East Commerce Street, the Bethel AME Church was impacted by that, in that sewage backed up into their basement. The sewage was cleaned out, some of the remediation work was done, but the bathroom in the basement and some of the space in the basement hasn't been repaired yet. Unfortunately, this is the reason why is because of insurance problems. Insurance agencies, their job isn't to help people, their job is to make money. And the insurance company for the town is not responsible for this, because it was a contractor to the town who caused the collapse to happen. But there is a very, very convoluted and frustrating process of applying for waiver, or applying to get money back from insurance. And unfortunately, it has taken far too long, and Bethel AME Church has sat in a position where they can't use part of their space for coming up on 4 months at this point. So the town, while needing to move through the insurance process, which means filing claims and waiting for those claims to be either denied or accepted and then filing rebuttals, the town can't let them sit any longer. So we came up with the process. It's a private action, but in the end, trying to make sure that we get the church taken care of as fast as possible, and still giving us the ability to try and get the insurance agencies to pony up like they're supposed to. So a frustrating piece there. It's gone on for far too long. I wish that wasn't the option, but unfortunately, the lawyers and the insurance folks play a big role in a lot of this stuff. So those are our major pieces. Obviously, if any questions, if I can ever help, please make sure you reach out. It is a gorgeous day today. I hope that all of you are getting a chance to go outside and enjoy some of this nice weather before spring break comes up. It's always nice to have some 70-degree days. But reach out, and we will actually be having a special council meeting Wednesday night this week. It's a budget and finance workshop meeting to talk about our operating and capital budgets. There's some questions that have come up and some possible actions or changes that people want to make to those budgets that have already been approved. So I'll probably have another update for you maybe on Thursday after that capital and operating budget meeting we have Wednesday night. Hope everyone is well. Take care. Enjoy your day.